There is way too much to unpack about color theory and everything else in Project Hail Mary, so I'll only be talking about the most important color in the entire movie, yellow. It's there in every single scene, almost. I'm gonna tell you about it. But before that, let's look at what scholar Lloyd Jones from the early 1940s has to say about color. He's describing different colors. I just cherry-picked how he describes yellow. Firelight, a soft yellow-orange, candle flame, a pastel orange-yellow, sunshine, a clear, brilliant yellow. Okay, thank you, Captain Obvious. Let's take a moment to shine a light on the indisputable victim of Project Hail Mary, the sun, a victim of the astrophages, aka star eaters, aka prey. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought I meant Grace, who was ganged up on, kidnapped, and then sent out to die in space against his will? Grace in this bright yellow jacket? Here I have several frames from the entire movie. So pretty much immediately we have Grace isolated here. He's the only warm thing in this entire room. He's got oranges here. We've got blues desaturated. And then there's this next scene. We finally have some yellow in here. Throughout the film, Grace switches off very often from being in environments that have warmer lighting versus cooler lighting. They switch off pretty frequently, especially right here in the beginning. You can see the lighting changes pretty dramatically. I'll get to that though. For the most part, we've got just warm colors right here. But then in the next scene, it is yellow, but it's kind of shifting towards green here, you see on the color whatever. Then this scene is pretty much all warm colors, yellow, and then it gets to be darker yellow. Very dark, musty, dusty, crusty, but still warm. And then we have Grace here, very gray. You still have the browns and it gets dark. That one's actually green. Here, this is actually the first glimpse that we have of Grace wearing his very iconic yellow jacket, but there's actually no yellow in this scene. Browns. It's just dark. It's just orange, dark orange. It's, you know, brown. We've got whites, brown. It's all very brown. We've got the white background contrasting from the darker colors up front. Makes it very readable, very lovely. Brown. We have this picture, which I really like. I think it's so ugly, and that's why I like it. It's orange. Brown. Little bit of orange, brown. But then we have the contrast of that really warm scene to, boom, this really cold scene. There's not a single lick of, he's not even wearing the same clothes, not the same warm clothes. He's wearing cooler clothes. He's in the cooler lighting. That's technically really desaturated yellow. That's actually, I didn't realize that. And then blue, cool, purple. Still technically gray. I guess it's a gray, purple, whatever. Flip. Back again, brown, orange. With color theory though, it's like, yeah, it's orange, but it's kind of giving yellow. I mean, it's definitely orange. Look at that, it's orange. But this color, compared to everything else with all the shadows, that's a little bit closer to yellow up there. Switch right back to the cool brown, just brown. Brown. Miss Strat is wearing gray. She is herself brown. We're all brown. Right after it, right here, we've got finally Grace being isolated in his yellow. We've got the surrounding colors are all very cool. Oh, just kidding. We've got the surrounding colors as desaturated brown. We've got some cool colors in there. We've got kind of a mix. If it's not cool, then it's very desaturated over here, obviously. Strat is, she's warm, but she's a very desaturated, warm, borderline gray. Of course, we have Ryland Grace in his bright yellow jacket that is not bright yellow. It's desaturated. It's borderline brown in some parts with the shadows and everything. Brown, a little bit of blue, a little bit of cool. It's a good mix of cool and warm in this one right here. It's got a nice balance. Finally, some more bright yellows are starting to take over the scene. Cool. And then just a little bit, very isolated in the middle, in the center of the screen, we've got Ryland Grace in his yellow. Incredibly desaturated yellow, because that's all it takes to make him pop. Warm. This is his jacket right here. Still, the brightest thing right here It's not really fighting for attention in this scene. We've got yellow spacesuit. We've got just a little splash of cool blues, but it's mostly very warm. Brown on rocky. Little bit of green, finally. Some green, true green. Brighter. Look, it's beautiful. We've got a couple greens here, trying to balance it out some. Okay, right here, we've got half of the screen is warm, brown, grace, bright jacket sticking out, and then the other half of the scene, it's about a third, is the blue sky that is just barely blue. It's very close to white. Strat is no longer brown. She is now gray. Before she was brown. Look at Strat now. She's gray. There's a yellow giraffe. The majority of the scene, I'd like to say, is just still warm. We've got the blues here. We've got some grays. It's a cooler ocean though. Grace likes the fog. We know this. It's brown. Hannah, most of those scenes were brown. They're not yellow. Which, to that, I'd like to argue brown is kind of just yellow. And my second argument to that is with color theory, it doesn't matter. It takes the scenes that you've been given, the cooler, the grays, it's a very desaturated movie. It doesn't take a lot to make you think that it's yellow. And it shouldn't. If they actually used a super bright saturated yellow in all of the places, then it just wouldn't look good. In some scenes, it is a bright yellow jacket, like right here. But then in other scenes, you look at the bright yellow jacket and you still register that it's a bright yellow jacket, but look at that. Brown, gray, ew, icky, gross color. With all that being said, let's talk about color grading. This quote mentions digital intermediate, or DI, which is basically just a finishing process for movies that deals with manipulating color. This was written by Alish Woods in 2007, actually. Digital technologies are opening up the image to manipulation in ways that have previously been impossible. And though digital color grading has been exploited in films, fewer films have explicitly isolated individual elements within an image to manipulate them. Sound familiar? So in cinema, color grading is essentially altering the color of an image so that it can match the tone, mood of the story. Part 2 is going to be much more exciting.